Hi guys, Joe Biden officially announced that $15 minimum wage is not going to be included in his American Rescue Plan, but he is still committed to that idea and he will be proposing a separate bill in the future. Just yesterday, Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office released a study about proposed $15 minimum wage, and it says that it would cost 1.4 million of jobs, but lift 900,000 people out of poverty line. The question of today's video whether US actually needs that $15 minimum wage or it rather completely kills the US economy. Let's start from the pro arguments. Number 1. US current minimum wage is $7.25 per hour, and it was raised for the last time back in 2009. Since then, prices went up, and therefore the minimum wage should be adjusted according to the inflation. I agree, we can use the online calculator and see what will be the value of 7.25 in today's dollar. Well, it's 8.75, which is very far away from $15. Argument number 2. Most of the service workers are getting minimum wage, and that's how capitalists exploit the working class. Well, the thing is, if you don't have a minimum wage law, the wages are determined by the market value. If you introduce the minimum wage, which is lower than the market value, it won't have any effect to the actual wages. For example, if tomorrow you introduce $1 minimum wage, it won't affect the actual wages because no one's gonna work for that amount of money. What if it's actually the case with the current minimum wage? If you look at the actual data from 2019, only 2% of workers which are paid by hourly rate are working for $7.25 per hour, which is only 1.6 million of people out of 328 millions of Americans. Who are these people? Most of them are young. Among the teenagers from 16 to 19, there are 8% earning minimum wage or less. For people over 25 years old, it's only 1%. Clearly, we can see that minimum wage is too low and most of the people are earning higher wages according to the market, not according to the law. Argument number 3. Biden said that if you earn less than $15 per hour, you're below the poverty line. Well, federal poverty levels are defined as $12,760 per year for a single person, which is $6.13 per hour. That's 2.5 times of a difference. The manipulation here is that leftists assume that one person on a minimum wage should be able to support wife and 2 children. But as we've just seen, most of the minimum wage workers are actually teenagers and they don't have to support anyone. In fact, they might actually get some allowance from their parents or still stay at the parents' home for free. If you want to support a family of 4, get some education or experience and find some job which pays more than minimum wage. Somehow 99% of people over 25 manage to do this. Now let's see at the arguments against minimum wage. First, let's state decide the minimum wage. US is a federal country and you should trust your local government to determine your minimum wage. Currently, the majority of the states have their own minimum wage, which is higher than $7.25 per hour. The problem here is that somehow even the richest states like California and Washington have their minimum wages below $15 per hour. It's $13 in California and 13.6 in Washington. These states are actually quite rich. The median yearly wage for California is $42,000 and for Washington is $46,000. But the rest of the country is much poorer. For example, in Mississippi is $13,500, which is $14.7 per hour. Can you imagine what's going to happen to the economy of the state when your minimum wage is $14.7 is lower than your minimum wage of $15 per hour? Number 2. Minimum wage creates unemployment. The way it works is the following. When you increase your minimum wage above the market level, you have some local businesses, let's say restaurants, and they have 2 different options. First, reduce the workforce and make the existing one to be more efficient. This way you can keep your prices at the same level. Second option is to keep the workforce but increase the price of the meals. If you do the first option, you can't really hire people without any restaurant experience because it won't be profitable to you. As the result, people after the high school which are looking for their first job will be excluded. Also, it will be hard for you to find experienced workers because now everyone is hunting for them. If you go with the second path, everything seems to be okay, but you have to increase your prices. And as the result, your clients might be visiting you less often because they have the same amount of money to spend. So at the end, you might get less of the customers and potentially get bankrupt. Some leftists disagree and tell you that there are many studies which shows that the restaurants before and after hike managed to adjust their business model without any of the loss of their employees. And this whole theory is basically a hoax. The problem with that kind of studies is the following. You only measure the restaurants which managed to survive that hike. In the real life, you have many restaurants which are getting out of business after a while, and this is a normal process independent of any minimum wage hikes. And the question now whether this minimum wage hike actually expedite the process of restaurants of getting out of business. Let's say we have a successful and profitable restaurant A and mediocre and barely profitable restaurant B. When the minimum wage goes up, restaurant A increases the prices for their meal. As the result, their customers will be visiting that restaurant less often. The profit of the restaurant A decreases, but it's still okay because it's a popular restaurant. When restaurant B increases the prices and losing the clients, the situation is quite different because now restaurant B is no longer profitable and after months it's getting closed. Now you have some of the customers of restaurant B which are still hungry and they have to go somewhere, so they decide to go to restaurant A. And after a while the profit of restaurant A returns to the same level as it was before the minimum wage hike. As you can see, if you're a successful restaurant, minimum wage hike doesn't really affect you. But at the end of the day, there is no more restaurant B, and unemployment rate got increased. Argument number 3. Minimum wage hurts young people and people of color. It might be surprising for you, but the way it works for the most of the people to be successful in their life is that they have to start from the entry-level jobs, then get some experience, then change some job for the better one, then get more experience and change your job for the better one again. The hardest point here is to get your first job. No one wants to hire people without any experience. Now, if unemployment rate is low, the employer has no option but to take someone without any experience. If unemployment is high, the employer might be very picky and select someone who has an actual experience. And in case you have no experienced guys, and let's say you have 2 candidates, one is white and one is black, the employer might prefer to hire a white guy. And not because he is a racist or something, but simply because he doesn't know any of those candidates well. And now he will be using some real or biased statistics about the race. And again, this guy is not a racist. If there was an experienced black candidate, he would hire him. And if there were no white and experienced candidate, he would hire the black guy as well. There is a very nice book about this topic called Discrimination and Disparities by Thomas Sowell, who is a famous economist and black. And all these statements are supported by different employment data from different historical periods before and after introduction of minimum wage laws. To summarize, $15 per hour minimum wage is not a good idea in United States. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe and see you next time. Bye!